patiently taught me in my years of ministry, I am very thankful for Jared Wilson and for Lest We Drift. I have seen this drift not only in well-known and well-regarded partners in ministry, but I have seen it in myself and in the evangelical culture around me. On this side of eternity, there is a pull inside of us to replace the gospel of Jesus Christ with something else. The scary thing is that we do this without abandoning our theology or throwing away our Bibles. For this reason, I think this book is and will always be timely and important. Wilson has thought richly and deeply about gospel drift in ways that you will find practical, insightful, and convicting, as I have. He knows us well and understands all the things that pull us away from our confidence in and commitment to the centrality of the gospel in life and ministry. My counsel to you is to fire your inner lawyer and listen with an open heart. Listen carefully and dig deeply into each chapter. There are treasures of rescuing wisdom to be found. Every Christian would benefit from listening to Lest We Drift, but if you're in ministry, this book is a must-listen for you and your ministry team, not just once, but once a year. May your love for Jesus and your commitment to keep him central deepen and grow as you listen. Paul David Tripp. Introduction. In 2021, when Mike Cosper and Christianity Today produced the official postmortem of the joint phenomena of Mars Hill Church in Seattle, Washington, and its founding pastor, Mark Driscoll, the podcast itself became a kind of Rorschach test for evangelical evaluation of those times. Like many listeners of a certain age and gender and ethnicity, I have conducted my own self-evaluative appraisal of those not quite halcyon days of the so-called gospel-centered movement. What really went wrong? Why didn't more of us see it more clearly and sooner? In 2006, I was a freelance writer and stay-at-home dad, taking early steps back into local church ministry after a hiatus of a couple years. That interruption in ministry was not entirely voluntary. My life had been falling apart for some time. My marriage was broken. I was depressed and even suicidal. Desperate for some glimmer of hope, I recognized that the inspirational lessons I'd learned over several years serving in seeker-sensitive churches were proving a thin gruel. Somebody recommended to me the sermons of John Piper and, yes, Mark Driscoll. I recognized Piper's name, but had never read any of his work or heard him speak. Driscoll was unknown to me, but I was captivated by the sheer force of authority in the preaching of both men, and I was refreshed by their persistently expositional mode of preaching. Most of all, however, I heard over and over again from both of them how central the gospel was to all of life. As a church-raised Christian in my late 20s, I was understanding for the first time that the good news of Jesus was not just for unbelievers, but for believers too. That it was for me. Quite quickly, I underwent a significant spiritual renewal, something I have called gospel wakefulness. A couple years later, I was asked by our longtime attractional megachurch leader to begin teaching in the young adult ministry. And so, I was sitting in a friend's living room looking down at the September issue of Christianity Today, with Colin Hansen's intriguing cover story staring right back at me. The young, restless, and reformed stream of evangelicalism, or at least that moniker, was effectively launched from this 2006 article. At the time of his article, Hansen was an associate editor at the magazine. He would later go on to help build the massively successful parachurch organization known as the Gospel Coalition. I picked up the magazine and began to read about the surging popularity of leaders like John Piper and Mark Driscoll among younger Calvinist evangelicals. And then I realized Hansen was describing people like me. There was a whole tribe of us out there, and from my corner of suburban Nashville, serving in an attractional context, in the land of Willow Creek-style megachurches, I didn't even know it. Those young, restless, and reformed people became my people.